You've been praying this prayer since childhood. Millions of people around the world repeat these words every single day. But what if I told you that one of the most famous phrases in this prayer has never really been translated correctly? Give us this day our daily bread. Or should it be our bread for tomorrow? Or perhaps our supernatural bread? Today, we're diving into one of the biggest translation mysteries in history. What did Jesus really mean when he taught this prayer 2,000 years ago? The Lord's Prayer appears in two Gospels, Matthew and Luke, and in the original Greek text, there's one word that has puzzled scholars for centuries. This word, epiousios, appears exactly twice in all of ancient Greek literature. Both times, right here, in the Lord's Prayer, nowhere else, not in Homer, not in Plato, not in any other ancient text. It's what linguists call a hapax legomenon, a word that appears only once, except this one appears twice in the same prayer. So when the early church needed to translate Jesus' words from Aramaic into Greek, they chose, or possibly invented, a word so rare that we're still arguing about what it means today. Let's break down why this word is so problematic. Epiousios could come from several Greek roots. First, epi plus ousia equals super-essential or supernatural. Second, epi plus eni equals for the coming day or for tomorrow. Third, epi plus eni equals necessary for existence or essential. Three different interpretations, three radically different meanings. And here's where it gets interesting. Different Christian traditions made different choices about what this word means, and those choices shaped theology for centuries. In the late 4th century, St. Jerome was tasked with translating the Bible into Latin, the translation that would become the standard for Western Christianity for over 1,000 years. Jerome made an interesting choice. In Matthew, he translated epiousios as supersubstantialem, supersubstantial, supernatural bread. But in Luke, he used quotidianum, daily bread. Why two different translations in the same Bible? Many scholars believe Jerome himself wasn't sure. The supernatural reading suggested the Eucharist, the body of Christ. The daily reading was more practical, asking God for physical sustenance. But here's the kicker. The word quotidianum wasn't quite right either, because if Jesus wanted to say daily in Greek, there was already a perfectly good word for that, kath hemeran. But that's not what the text says. Fast forward to the Reformation. When translators created vernacular Bibles, they had to choose. German Luther translated it as täglich Brot, daily bread. English Tyndale and the King James Version, daily bread. French, pain quotidien, daily bread. The Reformers largely rejected the supernatural interpretation. Why? They were pushing back against Catholic emphasis on the Eucharist. They wanted the prayer to be about trusting God for everyday needs, not about transubstantiation. The translation became theological warfare. Meanwhile, in the East, many Orthodox theologians maintained both meanings could coexist: daily physical bread and spiritual nourishment through Christ. For them, the ambiguity wasn't a bug, it was a feature. A word that meant both physical and spiritual sustenance captured something essential about the Christian life. Remember, Jesus didn't teach this prayer in Greek. He spoke Aramaic. So what word did he actually use? Scholars have tried to reverse engineer the Aramaic original. The most likely candidate is a phrase meaning bread for tomorrow or bread for the coming day. In first-century Jewish context, this would have had rich meaning. Jews prayed this prayer in the evening. Bread for tomorrow meant trust God for the next day. It echoes the story of manna in the wilderness. God provided daily bread. You couldn't hoard it. It's about dependence and trust. In the 1900s, papyrus discoveries gave us more context. We found ancient shopping lists and household documents using similar word formations. Some scholars now think epiousios might have been common marketplace language that just didn't survive in literary texts. It might mean something like necessary or sufficient. Give us our sufficient bread, or give us what we need. So how do modern translations handle this impossible word? The NIV, daily bread. The NRSV, daily bread. The ESV, daily bread. The Catholic NABRE, daily bread. The Message, the food we need. The Amplified, our bread for today. Most still go with daily, but check the footnotes. They're full of alternative readings. So after all this, what did Jesus mean? The beautiful, frustrating truth? We can't be 100% certain. But that uncertainty teaches us something important. First, humility in interpretation. Even the most sacred texts have mysteries. That should make us humble and curious, not dogmatic. Second, lost in translation is real. Every translation is an interpretation. We're always reading through someone else's theological lens. Third, multiple meanings can coexist. Maybe epiousios was meant to be rich and layered. Physical provision, trust for tomorrow, spiritual nourishment, God's supernatural sustenance, all at once. When you pray, "Give us this day our daily bread," you're participating in a conversation that's been happening for 2,000 years. You're asking for physical needs to be met, trust to face tomorrow, awareness of your dependence on God, spiritual nourishment. And maybe that ambiguity is the point. Maybe God knew that different people in different times would need to hear different things in this prayer. The poor person praying for actual food for their children, they hear physical provision. The wealthy person struggling with anxiety, they hear trust for tomorrow. The mystic in contemplation, they hear spiritual bread from heaven. It's all there. So, how did translators change "give us this day"? They didn't just translate words, they made theological choices that shaped how billions of people understand their relationship with God. One mysterious Greek word, 2,000 years of debate, dozens of different translations, millions of prayers, all slightly different. And yet somehow, the prayer still works. People still pray it. God still hears it. Maybe that's the real miracle, not that we have the perfect translation, but that God meets us in our imperfect attempts to reach Him. Next time you pray the Lord's Prayer, pause at that line. Think about what you need to hear in it today. Is it daily provision? Tomorrow's bread? Supernatural sustenance? Sometimes, the questions we can't fully answer are more powerful than the ones we can. If you found this interesting, drop a comment telling me, what translation do you use, and what does daily bread mean to you? And if you want more deep dives into biblical mysteries, subscribe for more content like this.